What a go on, people. I guess by now we are recover. If you don't know, yeah, they are recover from the near miss that has Jamaicans experienced was Hurricane Beryl slide past the island um, over the course of Wednesday. And I just wanna use this opportunity to just shine a light on some observations that I made. Now, listen, I don't grudge anybody who have to deal with the passage of any kind of hurricane or tropical storm. I mean, I lived through Gilbert and a couple of hurricanes right after that before I shake out of Jamaica to come this side of the world. But the thing that struck me with the whole Beryl hurricane passage was a sort of a nonchalance on the part of a lot of Jamaicans in terms of how they dealt with the threat of the impending hurricane. Clearly, we have reached a tipping point in the country where people are more prepared to deal with personal self-interest as opposed to the collective interest. And then at the same time, what it exposed to me is the deterioration of respect for our political leaders, and then to a large extent, the failure of political leadership in Jamaica as it relates to those who are in charge. And of course, the chief man in that are the prime minister. There was a time when Holness just come in at the thing where everybody seemed to have had this big promise. He seemed to promise a lot. And it has become a feature of this administration. Not that their predecessors were any less guilty, but their manner is more PR announcement more than anything else. For example, let me deal with some issues that surface over the time. One of them is the whole business of instructions to the public as a disaster approaches. The other, and even more critical, is how we mitigate some of the disasters that we know can overrun the country. The gullies, for example, and the garbage. Those are the responsibilities, the cleaning and maintenance of the Ministry of Local Government, and in particular the different political bodies that run the respective corporation and thing. And so the man who occupied a hot seat there, in my opinion, Desmond Mackenzie. You walk through the cities across the island and garbage are overrun the place. Completely overrun with garbage. Their response, oh, we're going to buy X amount of trucks and all of that. And all of this is just a PR stunt, if you want to call it that. Because if you live in a certain communities, you don't see none of them truck there. It's a very simple thing to prevent the pile up of garbage within communities, or more importantly, to prevent people from dumping garbage in the gullies. If you now collect the rubbish that people naturally create by them day-to-day existence, and you don't have the infrastructure to deal with that, they are going to find some ways to dispose of it. And either A, them left it on the sidewalk, so it just litter the place and it eventually end up in the drains, or they themselves carry it and dump it in the drains. That is a failure on the part of the people who manage, right? Who manage the local government apparatus. And this man have to take that lick. Now you kind of make you wonder. So what happened to the man who him report to? Him not see them kind of thing. Yeah? Problem in Jamaica is that the political representatives, right, that head these respective departments, them don't live in these communities. Them only visit when them are going to have a political meeting and them are try drum up the voting support and them build up a little stage in a one corner of the community, walk through a little bit with some camera and thing. And then see them again until them need to have another meeting. Them not have a clue as to the issues that are impacting the people within these communities. And so what has happened is Mr. Holness has lost the respect for a majority of Jamaicans. People basically no believe not what I say. Everybody now refer to him as liar, big nose, you know, you know, the issue of the corruption that him sit on over an administration that just literally a rip off the taxpayers. That are the problem. And so nobody now respect it. And that is why when the hurricane bust or was about to bust, there was a Gleaner report, where the reporter went into the market and the reporter talked to some of the vendors. This particular vendor was one of them that they interviewed. She basically said, "Me not going nowhere. Me not going anywhere because guess what? Me have a stall in the market and me have my goods and if me have to pack up the truck." Most people don't understand the sociology of how the market works. A lot of these vendors come from country on a truck with them load. In a lot of the instances, they may sell the load to a vendor in the market, or the vendor come on the truck with the load. And in a lot of those instances, they are not necessarily the people who cultivate the produce. They buy or trust the produce from a farmer down in the country. So if them not sell off the goods, them can't go back because them have to pay the farmer, right? Worse, if them have left the load, some of them have some stall where them can lock up and put the things them in it and them can flash go find somewhere for shelter. But they recognize that there is no security provided within the market. And so if they leave the load and go seek shelter, the chances are them come back, some criminal will rip it off because the system is not there to protect these people and them goods. And so, I'm watching how this has been playing out on the social media platform, right? And people criticize the vendors and boy, the people them down a sense and all of that. There are those of us who we don't understand the sociology of that kind of liberty. To us, these are vendors and we just recognize them as people who sell fruits and vegetables, and you go in at the market, you pick up some goods and you go about it. We don't understand the sociology behind them existence. What is worse is that a lot of people don't understand just the general sociology of how small people in Jamaica make them livelihood. So to ask people for close down them business, I'm not saying that them should remain open in a hurricane, you have to shut it down. But again, these people have economic challenges. And so in most of these small communities, people get paid by the day. A lot of these people are days workers. Them collect a little money overnight and so them have to run go shopping in the morning for buy a half a bread or some sugar and little this for make like a breakfast, or some chicken back and thing for cook for dinner in the evening. Them can't shop like the average person, the average middle class person who can go to a supermarket once a week or once a month because their money just not dead it, right? And similarly, the little shopman can't afford to lock down in shop because him have to go pay the man when him trust the goods from. And so it's a vicious cycle. And what that does is that it impacts just the whole security and sociology of the country. Yet we, on the other side, we sit down there and we criticize. We have to come to terms with the fact that as a collective, we are a society that is made up of disparate groups of people, right? Not because you drive a Mercedes Benz or a pretty car and you have a nice house up in a thing. A lot of people don't live like that. In a lot of these communities, garbage not collect, right? And it is very depressing that is only when we have a national disaster like a hurricane or come, you see the man them a run up and down for get bulldozer and all of that. It is cheaper to have a maintenance program to deal with a cleaning gullies on a periodic basis, maybe once every 2 months or every 3 months. We do that, right? So you provide a steady stream of employment for some people who that are for them livelihood. Then we have to go end up and find a piss pot load of money to clean the gully overnight, which is not going to happen because usually what you know, you move out the dirt out of the gully, pack it up on the roadside, and when the rain falls, wash it back down inside it. Jamaica really, you make you wonder if Jamaica really a keep. And so, we're lucky this time that the thing never lick us full face on as it was projected to do. Because listen, I lived through Gilbert and a couple other storms after that before I flash out. And I don't wish this thing for my worst enemy. Right? It's not just about eating tin mackerel and bully beef and a fair cope with lamplight and candle. There is a whole social reduction that happens with a hurricane. And when you don't have the kind of economy that allows you to get back on your feet pretty quickly, it have a very, very significant negative impact upon the population, right? It increased stress, it pushed people to the edge of their existence. The suicide rates go up, criminal activity mount up because we have a society that don't really care about its population. And again, me bring that down to the failure of leadership. You know, an administration have a responsibility to provide an environment, not only in terms of the economics. The man I love boast about how much money we have in the Bank of Jamaica as a national net international reserves. But that money is meaningless if it is not, portions of this is not being allocated towards making life better for the average Jamaican. And so when the lady in the video, Miss Lady, tell the reporter, say she now gone away. When the fisherman them make it clear, so watch her, we now left the sea, alright, I say, because our thing we have to protect. When the little man them have to dip on the road in the rain for go find food for eat, right? It say we have a country where don't understand how the people them at a certain level live. We don't collect the garbage, this is the result, right? And all of that garbage end up right the sun, in the sea. Or it choke up the drains and we have problem with flooding and all of that because leadership failed. And these are the things that we need to now pay some attention to, right? We dodge a bullet, and we're lucky, and we're glad, and anybody out there, you're supposed to share the same sentiments. We're glad, said this thing never liquid in a more significant way. I understand that there were some points across the island that were impacted by this thing, but thank God, it could have been worse, and we wish those people who were affected that them find a way to get back on them foot pretty quickly. But let's count our blessings because it could have been worse, and let's hold these people, let's hold them responsible and accountable, right, for providing for the nation, so that we don't have to wait until everything is a crisis before we deal with it. We can't prevent a hurricane, but we can mitigate the destruction and the damage and destruction that it can do if we just have better leadership. It makes no sense where pretty talk and all of that. People need to see leadership that is providing that leadership by example. It's not about fancy talk and cameras and social media. People want to feel the decisions within their communities. Mr. Wellness, may I point that at you and those within your cabinet. This is not about politics. This is about caring for the people of Jamaica. I'm going to want to hold it to that. Listen, if you like the video, I would like you to punch up the like button, and if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, because I do this from time to time. Not enough, because I'm in another politics thing. I just like point out things when I see it and I think it need to be corrected. And if you like that kind of material, subscribe to the channel, because I may always have more. And again, I encourage you to share the thing and give me your feedback in the comments section. Alright? Until then, more time. Respect.